Let's define two more design side interactions: fixed elements and scroll groups. If you follow along with me, you'll want to have step 5 final touches. In this practice file visible on the design canvas, you will want to be in design mode, and you will want to make sure that you have the layers panel open. By clicking on the icon in the lower left hand side, I'm going to go ahead and hold down the spacebar and move this Explore artboard to the center, so I can see it a bit more clearly. And just magnify it just so I can see that header area. Okay, so there's a concept known as persistent navigation in interface design. And the idea is that your user always have control over the interface. They always have the ability to navigate where they want to through the persistent navigation. I can achieve that with this page by making sure that the navigation items here towards the top are pinned and fixed towards the top, allowing the content below it to scroll underneath. To prepare for this, what I've done, I'll go ahead and click on this group here. To show you is I've done in and created a group. I name it Top Nav. Here's the layers panel. I can expand the folder to see all of the elements that are in it. Towards the back of the group, I define a simple rectangle. I name it header container, but I layered it behind the group. It will allow me to have an opaque background so that when the content scroll behind, you won't see it scroll through my navigation. I went in and saved it out as a group. As I mentioned, I name it Top Navigation. What I want to do is come in and select that group. So I will make sure it's selected here in the layers panel. And in order to pin it or define it as a fixed element, I'll come here in the Properties Inspector. And in the transform area, there is an option to fix position when scrolling. I'll go ahead and click that option. And let's take a look at the work we've done so far. So, with the artboard still selected, I'll come to the upper right corner and click on the Desktop Preview app. Here, within the app, I can start to scroll down on my content and notice, well, two things are happening. First off, my navigation is remaining pinned at the top. But the funny thing happens which is the Z order or the layer structure. It's not correct. In that, the chair is kind of flowing on top of my navigation. That's great. Okay, I will keep my preview up, and here in the layers panel, What I want to do is come in and select the top navigation group. And just press and drag it up towards the top of the stack. So I want it to be the topmost layer in the hierarchical structure of all of my layers within that artboard. So now I've got that set. I'll come back here and bring back up that desktop preview. This time, when I brought it up, by the way, I use a keyboard shortcut. On the Mac, I use Command. On Windows, it should be Control. And hit the return key on the keyboard, which will bring up that desktop preview. With the desktop preview visible now, as I scroll down on the artboard, I'm getting the behavior that I like. So all of the content behind is scrolling and remaining behind my navigation. Next thing I want to do, if I come back on the design canvas and dismiss the desktop preview once again, you'll notice here towards the middle, when I click, I got a rather large group of objects. So it's a bunch of thumbnails with titles that I want to include in my design. But I don't have a lot of space, right? It is mobile design and space is at a premium. So what I would like to do is create this group as a scroll group within the overall layout of the design. So I begin once again, similar to the top navigation, by coming in and creating a bunch of tiles. I've got a tile for each room. As I group these together and give it the name Room Selector, I want to make sure I've selected the group. And then here in the Properties Inspector, what I want to do is come into an area that's not heavily labeled. So it's in the transform area, and there are 3 icons here towards the right. These icons allows me with the selected group and define if I want to scroll horizontally. In some cases, I might want a group that would scroll vertically within the larger artboard. Or I can scroll in both horizontal and vertical directions. This is something you see a lot when I'm looking at a map, let's say. So I can pan around in both directions inside a window. That sits inside my overall screen size. So for now, what I want to do is make sure I have the group selected. And then here in the Properties Inspector, click on that first scroll group option, the horizontal scroll. XD comes in and in essence masks out the group to fit within the artboard. Notice back on the design canvas that the group has marked and clipped to fit within the current artboard. And I have a handle here in blue on the left and the right. This allowed me to decide exactly how large I want this smaller window to be within my artboard. I kind of like it full bleed or touching either edge of the artboard. And I want to take a look at the behavior now. So once again, I will come in and select the title of the artboard and bring up the desktop preview window. I can scroll down on the page and I've got the persistent navigation that pins content towards the top. And then here in the middle, I've got the scroll group that is scrolling horizontally. This can get a little squirrely, but I'm going to scroll left and right here. And notice I can scroll kind of in both directions at the same time. So I can move up and down on the page. And then in that scroll group area, move to the left and right.